Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the Western Conference Final to give you a little preview on what's going to happen between the Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. It will be a fantastic series, I'm so sure about that. But let's have a look at both teams, see how they got there, and let's discuss what's going to happen in the series. So here's my board. It's pretty full. Let's go through it and have a look at the Western Conference Final 2022. The Edmonton Oilers, they were in the conference final the last time in the year 2006. That year they made it to the final. They lost infamously to the Carolina Hurricanes. It was a great series. It was a surprising series and a surprising appearance even in the conference final by the Oilers. This year, they went to the playoffs and beat the LA Kings in the first round in 7. Game 1, they lost 3-4. Game 2, a 6-0 win. Game 3, they won 8-2. Losing Game 4, 0-4. Losing Game 5, then at home, 4-5. Then, when they're with their backs on the wall, they went to LA and won Game 6 with 4-2 and Game 7 2-0. Then they faced the Calgary Flames. They lost Game 1, this crazy 80s style game, 6-9. It was amazing, nothing more about that. But then they won 4 straight. They won Game 2, 5-3, Game 3, 4-1, Game 4, 5-3, and finally Game 5, 5-4, with the McDavid goal in overtime. Altogether, the Oilers scored 52 goals so far in 12 playoff games. This is first in the league of all 16 teams in the playoffs. They allowed 37 goals, so the goal differential a plus 15. Their power play is clicking at 28.2%, which is very good. Their penalty kill also very good, 85.4%. The Oilers at an average have 34.92 shots at goal, and they allow 37.5. Their top scorers so far, Leon Draisaitl, 7 goals, 19 assists for 26 points. Fantastic how he has done in the playoffs so far. Connor McDavid, 7 goals, 19 assists, 26 points as well. These two together, so lethal this year, it's unbelievable. They're so good. They have support from Evander Kane, who so far scored 12 goals and had 3 assists for 15 points. Zach Hyman, very good addition, 8 goals, 4 assists for 12 points. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. Their goaltending, Mike Smith, now 40 years of age, so he's still 3 years younger than I am. 927 save percentage, 2.7 goals against, 2 shutouts. Mike Smith has done incredibly in these playoffs, especially if you consider that the guy is 40 years old. For a hockey player, that's not the youngest kind of player you can imagine. His backup, Mikko Koskinen, with an 865 save percentage in limited appearances. The Colorado Avalanche went to the conference final the last time in 2001. This year, of course, they won the Stanley Cup. Raymond Bourque, who got the cup handed by Joe Sakic. It was a fantastic scene to see Raymond Bourque lift the Stanley Cup for the first and only time in his career. And the kid who stood right beside him, his son, he later on went to play for my local team, Red Bull Munich, until I think 2 years ago, Chris Bourque, and he did pretty good. Anyway, the Avalanche met the Nashville Predators in the first round. Game 1, they won 7-2. Game 2, 2-1. Game 3, 7-3. And Game 4, 5-3. So they swept the Predators. They lost their starting goaltender in Game 3. He came back for the second round. More about that later on. Then they faced the St. Louis Blues in the second round. Game 1, they won 3-2. They lost then Game 2 at home with a score of 4-1. They then went to St. Louis, won both games with a score of 5-2 and 6-3. They lost Game 6 at home, 5-4, before winning Game 6 on the road, 3-2. The Avalanche scored 43 goals in the playoffs so far in 10 games, and they are second behind the Oilers right now. Third are the New York Rangers, and they are still playing Game 7 against Carolina. They have 42 goals for so far in the playoffs, so they can pass the Avalanche. The Avalanche allowed 27 goals against. Their power play 34.5%, fantastic. But their penalty kill only 73.1%. The Avalanche do have 39.8 shots for per game, which is incredible. And they allow 27 shots against only. Their leaders so far in the playoffs: Nathan MacKinnon, 8 goals, 5 assists for 13 points. Great showing by MacKinnon. Cale Makar, 3 goals, 10 assists, 13 points as well. Gabriel Landeskog, 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points. Mikko Rantanen, only 1 goal, and this was an empty netter. 10 assists for 11 points. And Nazem Kadri, 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points. The goaltending, Darcy Kemper, which, as mentioned, they lost in Game 3 against Nashville. He came back for the second round and had a great series against St. Louis. Kemper, 904 save percentage, 244 goals against. His backup, Pavel Francouz, 902 save percentage in 1.5 games or 1 3/4 games. He ended in Game 3, which the Avalanche won clearly, and then he won Game 4 against Nashville. So far this season, 3 games between these two teams, and these were not that long ago. March 22nd, when the Avalanche won 3-2 in overtime. April 10th, a 2-1 win for the Avalanche in a shootout. And the last game was April 23rd, a 6-3 win for the Oilers. So the games were pretty close. Overtime win, shootout win. Okay, a 3-goal win by the Oilers. That was not that close. But in general, this series has been pretty tight so far this season. So what's going to happen? We will have a great show going on. We will have McDavid and Draisaitl against MacKinnon and Makar. The other players will do their best as well. It will be a fantastic series. What could be the decisive points? I have to mention, although he has a 927 save percentage, Mike Smith. Over 40, and he played a lot of hockey during these playoffs. Will he have an off game or maybe 2? Will Mikko Koskinen get into action? His save percentage 865, not the best. What could the Avalanche do to Mikko Koskinen, and of course also to Mike Smith, is to be seen. The problem I could see with the Avalanche is their penalty kill. Only 73% against the Oilers power play. That's done pretty good. And with McDavid, with Draisaitl, with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Evander Kane, this is a pretty strong power play the Oilers have. Goaltending of Colorado, I do not see any problems. Darcy Kemper has done a solid job, and so has Pavel Francouz in limited appearances. So, what's gonna happen? A prediction for this series is very, very hard. Until this point, my predictions were totally off, but I expected that. But I had the Oilers in the conference final and losing against the Minnesota Wild. And I had the Avalanche eliminated in the first round against Nashville. So, totally off. What I expect of the series, I expect great games. I expect a lot of goals and a lot of tight games. What could happen is that the Avalanche, if the Oilers can't bring the total of almost 40 shots per game down, it could happen that they get overrun by the Avalanche. I don't expect that. I expect, as mentioned, a tight series and very, very good and very interesting games. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Game 1 will be on Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, or 2 a.m. Wednesday, German time. Most likely I will not be able to watch all the games live, but I will do my best to cover as much as possible and to see as much as possible. I hope we will have a great series. I think we will have a great series. and I hope we will all have a lot of fun with the Oilers and the Avalanche. In the end, a prediction: I really hope the Oilers will advance to the Stanley Cup Final to have a Canadian team up there. I hope it will be a tight series, but I think in the end the Avalanche will win. But it could have the momentum will be so important, it could swing both ways in the series. I hope for the Oilers, but I predict the Avalanche. Alright, that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And in 2 days' time, I will come up with a preview, the same style, for the Eastern Conference Final. Thanks again. Have a good time. See you soon. Goodbye.